Hello everyone, this is Jamie Starr for the New World News Network. On this episode, I want to do a part 2 of the Justice Scalia ritual sacrifice, which at this point I completely believe it was a ritual sacrifice beyond my prediction in my other video that there would be a big death on Grammy weekend. I had predicted this because it's part of the Imbolc ritual, as you can see on these occult calendars. Here you have winter solstice, 13 weeks, minor Sabbath, February 14th, Valentine's Day. And as we go down here, it's a pagan festival that encourages love and lust. It's celebrated precisely 13 days after Imbolc, thus imprinting the number 13, Satan's number of extreme rebellion. While most people view this as a day to honor your wife or your lover, its celebration is steeped in paganism. They go into a bit right there. On this other calendar, we see that Valentine's Day is marked by human sacrifice. So Scalia's death, which was basically the day before Valentine's Day, again, we don't know what calendars exactly these people are using. We use the Julian calendar, but there's so much Kabbalistic gematria and all that tied in that sometimes it's always off by a day or two or so. And then the other thing we'll go into is this new article that's come out today, which was about how Scalia spent his last hours with a secretive fraternity of hunters, the Order of St. Hubertus, Austrian society that dates back to the 1600s. This article, you can pull it up, find it all over. It's being spread around. It's a male-only society. They wear dark green robes emblazoned with a large cross and a Latin motto, which means honoring God by honoring his creatures. Some titles such as Grand Master, Prior, Knight Grand Officer, and they refer to it as an order. So it's obviously very similar to Masonic orders. It goes through the whole thing. Again, elite, fraternity, which, I knew this had things to do with Bohemian Grove. If you go through Bohemian Grove, it says the U.S. chapter launched in 1966 at the famous Bohemian Club in San Francisco, which is associated with the all-male Bohemian Grove, one of the most well-known secret societies in the country. Think about that. Kind of an oxymoron right there. Well-known secret society. Bohemian Grove is where a lot of the top world leaders, Republicans, and in 2008 you even had people from the Grateful Dead, various musicians, political leaders, business leaders, cultural leaders. They meet there. I believe it was Richard Nixon who referred to it as the most goddamn faggoty thing he's ever been to. You can see in some of the pictures, you'll see some of the men dressed up in drag performing different musicals. There's a picture, when I had searched this before, of Henry Kissinger wearing a coconut bra. Here you see Nixon and, who's that, Carter, maybe? God, his name is escaping me. One of the other presidents, so two future presidents sitting side by side each other at the Grove, so we know this is where some of our top world leaders come from. I believe it was the Bohemian Grove where they also first discussed the idea of the atomic bomb. That might have been Bilderberg. I'm not 100% on that. But again, we've had like things set up like the European Union, and all these type things happen at these secretive meetings, whether it's Bilderberg or whatever. They worship Moloch, this giant owl creature. There's hidden owls in the dollar. So again, the secret society, you sort of see it weaving its way through everything. So it's basically like Hydra in Captain America and the Marvel Universe. This is it in the real life. Here you see a picture of Bohemian Grove. At the earlier days, you see them wearing these sort of pointy hats and top things. It's, again, all this secretive order, dubbed the world's most powerful men's club by Edgar Hoover. Bohemian Grove is a secret club that meets for 3 weeks every summer at a heavily guarded 2,200-acre estate in northern San Francisco. Occultist ceremonies, bizarre rituals are part of the celebrations. Mock human sacrifices, but there are also actual human sacrifices within these orders, as we see with Justice Scalia. The other people who have died on the Imbolc ceremony the past couple years also include Whitney Houston and her daughter. Here is a clip
Joining
from
us right now is a
InfoWars where you can see
Joe, you're down in Texas. Where are you? Near the judges' chambers?
where you can see the grounds in which this went on, and it's very secluded, out in the middle of nowhere. It sort of looks like a castle in some of the shots, and after this part of the interview, you'll even see that there are these masks, like these eyes wide shut type masks, being held up in the dining room. So let's go to the interview.
Is the first two justices of the peace that were called were out of town that day. They were about 120 miles away at some event. You mean to tell me when that name came over the wire, they didn't drop what they were doing and take the time to drive a few hours to come out here? Now, before that, John Poindexter, the guy who owns the ranch, called the feds. The feds flew in. You mean to tell me they couldn't have picked one of these people up? Instead, it was passed on to a third person, Judge Cinderella. Now, in the past, in 2015, she has made some botched calls before.
Oh, really? What did Cinderella do in the past that was questionable?
In 2013, there was an incident in Big Bend where an unconscious woman was laying on the train tracks. A train ran over her and sliced her into pieces. Now, the railroad company came out, did their own internal investigation, said that it should be investigated. The family came out and said they wanted an investigation. They called Cinderella, and she goes, "Oh, nope, suicide," and ended it right there. Did not go in, did not do an investigation.
So Cinderella is who is she? She's a low grade local judge.
Pretty much, she's a county judge here in
Martha, Texas. Wow.
I know. I mean, there's a lot of things surrounding this. I mean, like you said before, I've heard other people say that this was a Republican president, a ranch owned by a Republican donor, and it was a liberal judge who died out there. The entire left would be screaming and crying, asking for an investigation. As soon as his name came down over the wire, they should have been locked down. They should have called for an investigation. They should have done an autopsy, toxicology, and all of that. Instead, they take the body and drive it to El Paso. Now, we have an investigator in El Paso right now who just spoke to the mortician who did the embalming. They just drained his fluids and threw them into the El Paso sewage.
Oh, my God. You're kidding me. They did that already?
Yes, that has already been done.
Oh, my God. Oh, so they're covering it up already. This is terrifying. You would think this would happen in Paraguay or in Uruguay in the 1970s, but it's happening here now under our dear leader. Joe, has a single politician, one politician, called for an investigation?
Not that I'm aware of, but all I hear are homicide investigators. There was one of the main homicide investigators for D.C. Police all over the country have said that this should be investigated. There's an outcry by people who are specialized in this. Now you have this, Texas or this U.S. Marshal that came out. He's not even trained in homicide, and yet he's the one calling and going, "Oh, this is just natural causes. Let's pass it."
Wait, right. He was that U.S. Marshal was appointed by Obama. Have you interviewed him?
No, not yet. We just got into Marfa. We're going to the ranch next. We're going to be here for the next few days. We've got a long list of people that we will be.
I suggest that you bring your food with you. I would suggest you don't accept their hospitality for any meals.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely throwing the pillows off the bed.
By the way, do you know anyone who sleeps with a pillow over their head? I haven't met one yet.
I've never heard of it. I've actually stopped and talked to a few people and asked them if they thought that was normal. And everyone's going, no, that's pretty.
Well, maybe it's normal, but you see, maybe it's not normal in that Texas county, but it could be normal amongst Italian Americans of 79 years of age. We have to interview all 79-year-old male Italian Americans and see what percentage of them sleep with pillows over their head. Because I'm sure the Washington Post will...
Okay, so we don't have time to play the rest of that interview, but you can see that up on Alex Jones's YouTube channel. Again, that was Michael Savage talking to Joe Biggs as we were reporting the situation there. We're going to be back with Wayne Madsen, Kit Daniels, and we're going to talk about Scalia's son saying that conspiracy theories about his father's death are hurtful. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight here with Wayne Madsen, Joe Biggs, Kit Daniels, and we have just returned from Texas.
So as you see, there's these kind of creepy masks hanging up. It also is very reminiscent. There was a Law and Order episode that involved a online dating site where different girls would engage in sexual fantasies with people online, and the person they were looking into was a judge, specifically because of his wearing of this goat mask and this girl being raped during a play or something. So again, it's very reminiscent of that. I don't know if I'd call it predictive programming, but you see this sort of evil, ritualistic, Bohemian Grove sort of Imbolc sacrificial layer just sort of starting to spill out of this. Like, they can't hold it back, or they just want it out there. They want for the people with eyes to see and ears to hear to know what's up. So I just figured I would cover this again. Anyone who hasn't seen my original video where I predicted that there would be a big death, and anyone who knows more about the Imbolc ritual, the gematria, the, you know, however this is all tied together, please feel free to hit me up. Let me know. Inform me, because I'm very interested. So this has been New World News. Thank you, everyone.